Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing fantastic. I'm doing pretty good. I've been a little, maybe unsettled a little bit, and well, it's mostly maybe a little disappointment in myself. I'll explain. Well, recently there has been a little feud, a little dispute, maybe, among some uh, researchers on YouTube that I have followed. Okay, and one of which I have gained some knowledge from, and another one kind of debunked them, and that is a little unsettling. And by the way, um, I may have made some comments that I maybe shouldn't have, but that's I guess, the human side of me kind of coming out. And for that, I do, if Jay Dreamerz, if you ever happen to see this, I do sincerely apologize for comments that I made. That is as sincere of an apology as I can do, and I do mean it. Anyway, loved ones, and please like and subscribe, by the way. I usually forget to ask that at the beginning, but here we are. So, there's that. Anywho, so there was this dispute. And then I have finally kind of reeled myself in. It's not like I got all kinds of bent out of shape or anything, but I allowed it to get in more than I'm comfortable with. I mean, I really didn't lose any sleep over it. I certainly didn't get angry, but it was just like, it was just more than I should have done. That's all I'm saying. But this has kind of caused me to take a little step back. You know, the 30,000 foot view. And look at things, right? Where we gather information from, where we gather things that we maybe base our beliefs on. And in a lot of cases, in most cases, most people have already made up their minds what their beliefs are. They're just going out looking for justification of it or proof or whatever the case may be. But it caused me this just kind of observe. Well, I didn't insert myself, but to allow to be more than just an observer of this dispute going on. But it did cause me to pause and do some reflecting, and hence the 30,000 foot view. And then I kind of asked myself, well, there is the 30,000 foot view. Okay, now what's the big picture? You know, like meaning of life. Why are we here? I believe, and I've said this before, it is to grow, to gain experience, gain knowledge, gain wisdom, to mature, lots of things that we are here to do that can only be done in a lifetime where you are, I guess, there's a constant threat of mortality, right? Where mortality is an issue, where we're outside of this, we're with our higher self, an immortal being. That's not really, when there's no, you don't feel like you're on a time limit. Well, and anywho, so there's that. But it caused me to, do the whole, why are we here? Well, to learn and grow, right? And I'll admit, I don't always verify sources. Now, you call me lazy if you want. But what I do is I do my own research, okay? But like I said, I do have some researchers on YouTube and other blogs and, whatever, different places that I do find and follow their research. Now, do I always verify everything they tell me? No. I mean, we just don't have time for that. That's why we find people that we trust to do those things, right? And it's like, well, how do you make sure you trust them? Well, if it's just somebody I don't know, probably I'm not going to follow along with them in the first place. But if, for whatever reason, they have gotten my attention, maybe something compelling, whatever, I will still verify them. I'm not going to just blindly jump in and follow somebody. But I do verify. Unless it's a person that was recommended or kind of backed up by someone else that I already trust, that kind of thing. So, like, for example, in this book, Holographic Universe, there is a very large bibliography backing up a lot of the claims and stuff that's made in here. I'm not going to go and research that bibliography. I don't have time for that. But I do trust that Michael Talbot is a very good researcher. Well, was. I mean, he's since passed on. But anywho, I do trust Michael Talbot's research. So there's that. So anyway, okay. So I do find sources that I trust by either verifying or testimonials or whatever from people, others that I trust. But what it really boils down to, though, because all of that is just all fine and good. You can do all the research you want. You can listen to all the researchers you want. You can anything you want to do. But really, this is what it all just boils down to: discernment. If you simply use your own discernment, meaning it doesn't matter where you gathered the information from. Well, I guess it does matter, but I'm assuming we've already established the fact that it is a credible source, or at least you believe to be a credible source for whatever reason. Maybe it was somebody that was recommended to you or some, whatever. But discernment. And what I mean by that is, we have to learn to listen to our higher self, because unfortunately, our higher self can't really just speak to you directly. And I realize there are some people out there, maybe some mystics or whatever, who may disagree with that and be like, oh, yes, they can. Well, okay, fine. I'm not talking about if you go into a meditative state or if you go out of body or whatever and you do actually meet your higher self. I'm aware of that. Actually, I've had that experience in my life, but it's not something that happens on a daily basis. I have had that experience, yes. And it was profound. Anyway, but it's not something I can use all the time. That's all. So so really, it's like, well, how do I know what my higher self is teaching me, trying to tell me? Well, what feels right? You go with your gut. What feels right in your soul? If you're researching something, if you're reading a book, or if you're listening to a researcher on YouTube, like in the case of the little feud that I was kind of observing, or I guess monitoring, whatever. Anyway, what feels right? Or in the case of that, it's like, what your soul will have, your higher self has ways of communicating with you. You really just have to learn to be quiet and listen for it. It can be in the form of synchronicities. It can be in the form of intuition, probably more intuition than anything. But that's really what your gut kind of is. It's like, what's your gut telling you? That's just kind of another way of saying what your intuition say. Right? And we all are intuitive. We're all exceptionally intuitive. That's just the nature of our being. It's our nature to be intuitive. How about that? So anyway, we just need to learn to listen to our higher self. Listen to your soul. Listen to the part of you that's outside of this construct. The part of you that can see the big picture at all times. The part of you that has the 30,000 foot view. It's probably higher than that, but whatever. It's just a metaphor, right? So it's like we need to learn to listen to our higher self. And the best way to do that is when you're looking into something and you're not sure how to feel about it. Maybe it's something that is a spiritual teaching or whatever. Learn to ask yourself, how does this feel to me? Right? And it's like, for example, with Deepak Chopra. I've mentioned him many times. And I'm not a fan of his associations. I don't like some of the people that he associates with. And I think that it makes some people could be like, well, if you can't, trust the people that he associates with, well, then how can you trust him? Well, I don't necessarily trust him, but he has had some very profound spiritual teachings, things that I can take away with me. It doesn't matter where the source was. It doesn't matter that it came from Deepak Chopra's mouth. If it's something that is profound, it's something that is useful in my journey, well, then I'm going to use that. Like the old saying goes, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? That started somewhere way back when. The story behind that is they would give a baby a bath in a big tub or whatever, and then after which the dirty bathwater they would throw out the window. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And that's kind of it. Don't, just because you're getting rid of the parts that you don't need anymore, you're getting rid of the dirty part that you don't need. Keep what you do need. Keep the good parts. Like another one is Sadhguru. Sadhguru is associated with some very sketchy people. Right? But does he have some rather profound spiritual teachings from time to time? Yeah. Like Klaus Schwab, if you really want to go. Okay, Sadhguru associates with Klaus Schwab. Not a good person. Not at all. But does that mean that I am going to take everything Sadhguru says and throw it out the window? No. I'm going to learn from him what feels right in my soul. I'm going to take what I can use from that, take what helps me grow, take what helps me gain understanding, wisdom, knowledge, all of that. And then I'm going to leave the rest. I'm going to throw the bathwater out the window, right? So there's that. It's all about discernment. And we can still learn from people. We don't have to associate with them. We don't have to like everything that they do. We don't have to agree with everything that they say. But if they have some nuggets of wisdom here and there or whatever that you can use, do that. This is all about your spiritual growth. It's all about you getting better. It's all about you gaining wisdom, gaining understanding. And that's what I got. Let me check my notes and make sure. Yeah. Yeah. Your higher self is guiding you through intuition and synchronicities. Absolutely. And what feels right in your soul? What feels right in your gut? What makes sense? I mean, there's some things that people say that just don't make any sense. It's like, that just doesn't feel right to me. Let that go. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn something from everybody. Right? Right. So anyway, loved ones, that's what I got really. And I had to kind of reel myself in because I got a little carried away because somebody that I kind of respected and have been following someone's research. This person's ego really grated at my nerves, but I still accept the fact, well, there's still some pretty good information there. Then that person's information got debunked by another researcher that I also like. I'm like, wow. And then the whole thing with Jay Dreamerz, he said something, I didn't like it. I said something back to him, and I do apologize to him for that. Chances of him seeing this are slim to none, but if he does, there you go. There's the apology. Anyway, loved ones, again, please give me a like, give me a subscribe, and all that good stuff. Help me grow the channel. And that's what I got. And I love you. I definitely do. And I'll be back directly.